Good. Going back here, so the next movie that we have would be Cinderella. And as far as the rankings here, Cinderella's gonna go pretty high because it was the it started to be like the first one that I was like, wow, this is like I'm kind of surprised at how old this is. Like it Cinderella, and obviously maybe it's because several of them have come out within the last 20 years, live action remakes, and they keep remaking it, keep doing it. It's just it felt like a movie I would come out today and would make a lot of sense, and people would like if it came out today, people would still love it. Um, as far as my rewatch going back, I think I did like Bambi more just because I didn't remember the story as much, and I actually kind of enjoyed going back to that with an adult brain. Um, Similar with Pinocchio, I did enjoy going back to that one, but I think just like entertainment value. I actually think I was a little more entertained by Pinocchio, but I think I would put Cinderella above Snow White because I think it was a little more cohesive than Snow White, and I definitely enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Snow White. So Cinderella will go number three. I think it's a good place for that movie. And then looking here, I got quite a few characters from Snow White. I don't think a lot of them will rank very high on this list, but let's see. Cinderella. So for Cinderella, let's start with the evil stepmother. So honestly, she she didn't do much. I honestly like put her on here and was like, okay, this movie, I'll watch it and she'll have some kind of magic or something. I totally forgot she's just a normal person, just a rich person. Um so as far as her, I think like just from her demanding nature, I think she could be Ichabod, but I think Bambi could honestly take her with his horns, take her down. Like he took that guy who wanted to. I think I'm gonna bring this up like 5 times every episode. That just Bambi just beat the shit out of a guy because he wanted to be with a girl. Like when you think of Bambi, that's not what you think about. But yeah, um, I think she's gonna go right under Bambi, which honestly was a lot lower than I thought I would rank her at the beginning of this. But she didn't do anything. I mean, her abusive words. Yeah, honestly, that's why she beats Ichabod, just her abusive words. I don't think her abusive words would hurt Bambi too much. Maybe because Bambi can't even speak human, probably. Like he probably doesn't understand humans. So I think he could easily just wreck her with his horns. Cinderella is a tricky one because she also didn't do much. Though, however, actually, I say that, but she's very similar to Snow White. And you know what? Juicy, let me know if you think this is a good choice or anyone else in the chat. I'm thinking maybe the stepmother should go above Snow White and under the mirror. Because now that I'm thinking about it, I think like with her abusive words, I think she could beat Snow White. Well, Snow White could attack her with an army of animals. You know what? No, I'm gonna leave the stepmother where she is. However, Cinderella is shown to be able to control mice, birds with singing. She also speaks to them. She understands them. Um, I think I'm willing to put Cinderella above the mirror because she can talk to animals. She had something else here. She's a horse rider. She can. You think Cinderella goes below evil stepmom even though she can control animals? Like she outsmarted the evil stepmother as well. And I think I think she's very similar. That's cool. One little pebble mirror is gone. Okay, we're over the mirror. We're over the mirror story. I've explained to you why these people wouldn't break him with a pebble. These people are the ones that are too dumb to break him with a pebble. I think Cinderella would be smart enough to break him with a pebble. And you know what? I think the evil stepmother would be too. You're fine. You're fine. The I think it's gonna be you're gonna be fine when I put the mirror in the bench because I think that's gonna happen. But right now, I'm gonna put the stepmother above Dumbo, but below the headless horseman, because I think the headless horseman would scare the crap out of her, even though she's evil, and just trample her with his horse. Like even if she doesn't get scared, like he'd be so annoyed that he would just trample her with his horse. Cinderella, I think, could either like talk to the horse and have the headless horseman's horse walk away or buck the headless horseman, or she could just outride the horseman and cause an accident for him. So I'm gonna put her above. Actually, I'm gonna put her above Jiminy too. I think, because she could have a frog eat. No, she doesn't control frogs. She just controls birds. She could have a bird come and fly and take Jiminy away. So we're gonna put her above Jiminy, but under Mr. Toad. As I think Mr. Because they both have very similar skill sets, Mr. Toad and Cinderella, and I think Mr. Toad would be able to take Cinderella in a fight. So yeah. So then what do we have? We have Jacques next. So you honestly like thought Jacques would rate pretty low, and I wasn't actually expecting to put him on the list. I didn't put Gus on the list because Gus would be a dead last. Like if I put Gus on this list, he would immediately have gone into the bench because he basically was so slow, captured at every point, almost got eaten by a cat, got caught by Cinderella, who was or not Cinderella by Lucifer, and but with Jacques was actually like showed bravery, but not only that, he was able to kick Lucifer the cat, who's like 10 times his size. Um, and Lucifer flung forward, showing that he has a strong leg. He was able to hold Lucifer back from attacking Gus for 4 seconds. So that's a lot of strength for a mouse. I think he's showing like human level strength basically. He had parkour. He was able to jump through a wall and up like the studs and everything to get up to where Cinderella was pretty quickly too. He navigated a mansion pretty quickly. He squeezed through small spots, and he has such a strong bite that it basically he almost bit Lucifer's tail off. Um, so that being said, I think he's gonna rank right now below Dumbo. I think. So my reasoning for that, Juicy, I think you're gonna like this, is because he can throw a pebble. I think he'd throw a pebble and break the mirror. I think he would be smart enough to do that. Dumbo, I think Dumbo would be able to blast him with his water nose, and I don't think Jacques would survive that. So I think that's a good. I think 20 is a good spot for Jacques. And then we have who I think is going to be a strong contender, high ranker on this list, the fairy godmother. I'm also elephants are scared of mice. You know what? You know what, Juicy? This is why I tell you to come watch my stream and do this with me because you're right. And they show that in Dumbo but Dumbo's not afraid of mice actually. Cuz Dumbo's best friend is Timothy Mouse. All the other elephants were shown to be afraid of mice, but Dumbo actually is not afraid of mice. So you're wrong. I was about to agree with you until I remembered that I had just watched the movie and why that's irrelevant. But yeah, no, I mean that's definitely a good observation, but I think even then I think Dumbo's not afraid of mice. They pretty much clearly show that in the movie. But going back to the fairy godmother, she I mean, she's basically God. Honestly, the powers that she showed were higher than the powers of the blue fairy. Obviously, the obvious ones everyone knows. She transfers a pumpkin into a carousel. She turns a horse into a human. She creates fabric out of air. So basically, she's showing a very strong level of magic, which bringing her to the magic category real quick. I think these are going to be her two strong contenders. Um, Yin and Blue Fairy, I think last week I kind of agreed that they were both on a very similar level, and the reason Yin is currently lower than the Blue Fairy is because he gets tired after using his magic. So I think Fairy Godmother, no problem beating him if he's getting tired after his magic. I think she even showed more of a god level of magic than what Yin has. Because putting her up against the Blue Fairy, they both have the ability to essentially um, turn things into other things. Basically, are god level fairies. With Fairy Godmother, actually, one thing I forgot to mention that Fairy Godmother has is Fairy Godmother actually has the ability to travel through time. So that puts her very high up. Um, I don't. So I'm definitely gonna. I think I'm gonna put her above the fairy for that reasoning. She also has shown in the sequels that I do might rewatch, might not, might just look at clips and stuff. But her wand is shown doing time travel, and doing a lot of other stronger magic. So I think, and also she's a little more feisty than the blue fairy. So I think in a fight with the blue fairy, I think she is gonna take the blue fairy. Mickey, however, don't I don't think so. Just because, once again, Mickey has very strong magic. He not see that's the difference is he doesn't have god level magic, but he also has a lot of knowledge of fighting, which the blue fairy and the fairy godmother don't really show to have. They really just kind of rely on their magic. And Mickey's also very tricky. So I think Mickey could easily beat her. Not easily beat her, but I think in a fight between him and the fairy godmother, I think he takes fairy godmother. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for Cinderella.